Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Makeover Monday 2021, week 34, Watch Me Viz. This week we're looking at a really interesting article on LinkedIn about the requirements for entry-level positions and how so many of them are now requiring 3+ years of experience, which when I saw the title was quite confusing to me. I'm not quite sure how an entry-level job requires 3 years of experience. If someone that's on could let me know if they can hear me, that would be great. I appreciate that. And also, my apologies for not having a Watch Me Viz last week. I was on vacation with a very poor internet connection, so was not able to hold the session. I guess to start off, I see a question from Ivan Torres. Do you think using coursework as valued experience would be sufficient to close the gap for non-job experience? For example, 2 years of relevant schoolwork with practical examples. That's a good question, Ivan. I think it depends on how people define experience. So my understanding after reading through this article is that they want actual job experience. So not necessarily experience in school, because that's school experience. So I think it's pretty clear that companies are differentiating that. So yeah, okay, so let's first start by having a look at the original visualization, which we'll just pull up here. Let me open this in a new tab. And this comes directly from LinkedIn. And they did a study of about, I think it was about 3 million jobs. I'll pull up the article in a second. From December 2017 through August 21st. And I think there's, 12 or so jobs in here. And I found it really interesting that software and IT jobs, 60% of them require, or 60.3% of them require 3+ years of experience. So yeah, very simple data set this week. We've got the industry, the percentage, and that's about it. So just 2 columns worth of data. So what I'm going to do this week, and let me know what you think about this, is I'm going to first rebuild this chart, and I'm going to rebuild it in a couple of different ways so you can learn some different ways to build this kind of this sort of chart that goes up to, has like the gray that goes up to 100%. And I will also then potentially, well, not potentially, I'm going to show you how I would go about and build them in Power BI so we can look at them side by side. So let me know if you find that useful. I thought what I would do is build one chart in Tableau, build the same exact one in Power BI, come back to Tableau and build another one, and then go back to Power BI and build the same one. But they're all going to be versions of this same chart. It's also a way for me to get more familiar with how to use Power BI. I'm a very novice user in it, and I'm curious to learn more. I think it's great to learn how to use other tools. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first thing is we're going to connect to data. So in Tableau, it's pretty straightforward. I'm just going to choose my data set and connect to it. So let me just sort. It's just these entry-level positions. We have the data set. I'm going to give it a name. I always just clean up the name a bit. We have the job, we have the job title, and then we have the percent that require 3+ years of experience. And I'll just go to sheet 1, and that's it. So let's leave it like that. Let's go over to Power BI, and I'm going to go ahead and import data from Excel. And I've noticed over the recent times how the experience of using Power BI is getting more similar to Tableau. So I find that interesting that they're kind of playing a bit of catch up to Tableau. I do find the experience of connecting to just even a simple Excel spreadsheet like this on Power BI a bit slow. Now that could be because I am running Power BI on Parallels, so I have a Mac, so I'm running this through Parallels, which for those of you that don't know what that means, I have a portion of my computer set up to run Windows, and then this runs on Windows. So I have Windows installed for 2 applications, Power BI and for Alteryx. So similar to Tableau, we're going to pick the sheet. It's going to give us a preview that all looks the same, and then I'll load the data. Okay, very simple. So let's go back over to Tableau, and I'm just going to simply bring the data into the view. So first thing I'm going to do is just build a table because I want to set up the default number format here. So I have my table, and then I'm going to set up the default number format for this this particular field, and I'm going to set it to a percentage to 1 decimal. Okay, very good. So let's go back over to Power BI. It's still loading the data. Okay, so let's go back over to Tableau. And to change this to a bar chart, I'm just going to move the field from the label, from the text shelf up to the columns. And then I'm just going to go ahead and sort. And I like to always just verify my sort. So on the job field, I'm going to choose sort. It's doing it descending. Okay, perfect. And yeah, I think that's about it. So maybe I'll make a bit more room between the bars. And let's see if it's now loaded over in Power BI. It's still loading. Again, I think it's because I'm running parallels and also because of running this webinar as well. They both tend to take up a lot of memory. So I'll just keep building some things in Tableau then. Okay, so looks like maybe it's almost done. Let's give it a second here and see if it finishes. Okay, let's let it keep going here. So the first way that I'm going to build this particular chart is, so we've got the bar chart and then we have this percentage afterwards that fills up to 100%. So I'm going to create a new calculated field and I'm just going to call it the remainder. And it's just going to be 1 minus and then our entry level field. Hit OK. And now if I bring that into the view, I'm going to drag it on top of the axis at the bottom to make it a combined axis view. And you'll see Tableau brings in measure names into the onto the rows, and it switches the field and the columns to be measure values, and it gives us this measure values shelf. I'm going to drag measure names to the color shelf, and now we can see one is stacked on top of the other. But the entry level jobs are what I want to see first, so I just need to switch the order of my measure names around. And we get something like that. And I'm going to just try to match the colors, or I'll get close to it. So I'm going to go into my color palette, and maybe I'll just choose some of my Me Viz colors. So, sorry, I'm going to set the entry level to that color, and then maybe I'll pick maybe a light gray for the remainder. And we get something like that. So pretty close to that chart. Maybe I'll shrink the size of the bars down a bit to make it match. Okay. Maybe I'll make this column a bit wider so everything's on a single row. And then we need to have the value on the left-hand side. So there's a couple different ways to do that. I think the easiest way for this particular data set is I'm going to just drag the entry level, or sorry, the value to the rows, and I'm just going to change that to discrete. And you can see now I have that value. I'm going to go ahead and hide the field labels, and let me just drag in between to make them a bit bigger. And let's maybe right align these next to the bars. So let's right align that. And I also am going to get rid of my row dividers, and I'll get rid of my column dividers. Okay. I'm going to then go into my formatting. I'm going to turn my grid lines on and back off and get rid of my zero lines. So that's pretty close here. In the original article, did they use, okay, it doesn't say which font they use. I was hoping we could pick up whatever font they have here. That's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to format my workbook, and I'm just going to choose a default font. Let's see, let me pick, just give me a second as I try to pick through them. So I think I'm trying to think what it's not PT Sans. No, that's not it. Crud, I'm just trying to think of okay, that one doesn't look too bad. I kind of like that. And so that changes the default font. And then let's go ahead and format let's format the worksheet. So let's go to the worksheet. Let's set the default format for the pane to be maybe 12. Nope, that didn't do it. Let's set the default for the worksheet to be 12. And that font doesn't really look too great. You can see some things getting cut off here. That's okay, we can make it bigger. So we have the field, we've got the value, and then we have the bars. All right, And then we can go ahead and hide this header. And let's see, so I think that's probably good enough. The bars are a bit wide, but we can fix that later. Wide as in left to right, they're a bit wide, but we can make them a bit thinner later. Okay, so that's option one. Oh, sorry, we probably should show the header here again. Let's see. No, I need to go up to Analysis, Table Layout, Show Field Labels. And instead of this saying Job, I'm going to rename this to be Industry. And then this one is, okay, so this says entry-level listings asking for 3 years experience. Okay, so let me rename this to be entry-level listings asking for 3+ years of experience. Okay, and then let me rename that. I'm going to copy that. And I think what I can do now is I'm just going to put in a, let me just create a new calculated field. I'm just going to call this my column header. And I'm just going to put text in here. So I'm going to now drag that to my columns. And let me hide that. Okay. So then here, you'll see it's kind of left aligned. So, okay. So it looks like it's lined up with this 60%. So for now, let's leave it like that. I'm going to duplicate this sheet. And because I want this all to be lined up nice and neat, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a dual axis chart. So let's make this the average of 0. So that gives me kind of this bar chart here. And I'm going to, let's take that off. And I'm going to put the, I'm going to put that on my label. And then let's left align that. Okay, and change the mark type to a cant bar. Okay, there we go. So now if I make this a dual axis, and the measure values should be a bar, and then let's synchronize. Okay, we can hide that header. And then on my Gantt bar, I'm just going to set the opacity to 0. And now I don't need this field anymore. Okay, let's format this to make it, let's see what color it picks. So pick the second one down. And then let's go here. Color, no font. Second one from the bottom. Okay, something like that. And now when I format this, I can left align it. And it looks more like the original here. So let's see. So I need to make this less wide. So let me show the header. And I think what I need to do is I'm going to fix the axis. I want it to end at 1, I know that. And I want it to start at maybe minus 0.02. Let's see what that does. Okay, 0.04. Okay, maybe something like that. So that now gives them, they're really, really close together, but I can fix that. Okay, I'm going to format this one. I'm going to left align it and maybe make it a bit wider. Okay, I'd have to play around with this a bit more. So this axis is going to need to be a bit, it's going to need to play around a bit when I put it in a dashboard. But let's format this and let's set it to, I think it's probably that color. Format. Okay, second one down. Okay. Is that right? Poppins 12, second one down. Let's format. Yeah, those don't look the same for some reason, but I guess they are. Okay, so now we're pretty close to the original visualization. Entry-level listings asking for 3+ years of experience. Right. Okay, and then we would just hide that header. So we're pretty close now to the original visualization. Okay. Right. So let's see if we can rebuild this same one in Power BI. So we got the visuals, and it's very much like Tableau these days. So if I just drag in the entry level field, you'll see it'll create a bar chart for me. And come on. Sorry, it usually is much quicker than this. I think it's just because of me running all these things on my computer at the same time. But you can notice here, let me just highlight here. You can see here, and if you can see my red circle, but it's already picked a column chart here. So similar to what Tableau does, it'll, when you drag a measure into the view, it'll default to a chart. If you drag a dimension into view, it'll default to a measure. So I'm going to drag the job onto my axis then. And that's going to give me a bar chart of all of the jobs. Okay, now if I just pivot that around, okay, so we get something like this. Maybe I'll move it over here a bit. I do like how there's this nice little grid layout. Okay. Great, so something like that. Okay, so now to create that that kind of rest of the bar total here, I'm going to need to create a new column. So I'm going to go on to one of my fields here, and I'm going to create a new column, similar to how you create a new calculated field in Tableau. A calculated field in Tableau basically adds a column to the data set. That's what we're going to do here. And you'll see it'll pop up a formula bar similar to Excel for those of you that have used Excel. Okay, it's going very slowly. I think there's a web-based version as well, but I don't know if it has all of the same features, so I don't want to kind of test that out. Okay, so if I'm going to just call this the remainder. And you can see here where my calculation is. So that's equal to 1 minus, and then it's going to be my entry level position, and then check. And now I just need to let it finish saving the calculation. I can see it spinning in the background. It'll change the name over here from column to remainder. By the way, do you find it helpful when I have this circle around my mouse so you can see where I'm moving? So I'm going to take this remainder field and I'm going to put it onto this values shelf. I don't know if they call it a shelf or not. Let's see. Well, I'm going to change the chart type to a stacked bar as well. So let me change that to a stacked bar. Okay, and then I should be able to drag remainder onto this entry. Like, there it goes. Okay, and we get the same kind of view. I do like how it's automatically sorted in Power BI. I think that's a really good feature. So, and then to format this, I'm going to go over to the little roller. I keep calling it paintbrush, but it's not a paintbrush. And then on the legend, I'm going to turn the legend off. That's going to hide that. On my y-axis, I'm just going to go through here one at a time. I'm going to turn the title off. And then I should be able to left align. Let's see, can I left align it? I'm not sure. It's just positioned at the left. Okay, I'm not quite sure how to do that. The x-axis, I want to get rid. Oh, I'm going to end up just not showing that at all, so we can leave that for now. although I do need to turn the title off. Come on. Okay, so that gets rid of the title. And then I need to go into the format. Okay, data colors, here we go. So this one I'm going to pick maybe, it's about like that color. And then the remainder I'm going to set to maybe a light gray. Okay. And we get something like that, which I think looks really nice. The issue that I see now is that, let's see, so I can now hide this header at the bottom. So let me go back over to the roller, and I'm going to get rid of my x-axis. Okay, and that cleaned up a bunch of the formatting as well. Okay, so, oops. So that's that. I think that's okay. What else am I missing? So the labels, come on. Sorry, it's trying to populate this sheet again. Oh, I clicked on the wrong spot. Web-based version doesn't allow you to add columns yet. Okay. And you can't left align the y-axis labels. Okay, thanks, Megan. Megan, I appreciate the help with that. The other thing I couldn't figure out when I was trying to do this beforehand was how to put the labels kind of, I couldn't figure out how to get, so before I did something like this, I believe, where I had the discrete field in the rows and I could see two things next to each other in the columns. But I couldn't see how to do that in Power BI, so I'm not quite sure what to do there. So for example, if I put the entry level thing also on the axis next to the job, come on, it places it there, but then I can't say, oh, maybe I need to hit the drill down. Maybe that's what it is. Let's see if that does it. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we can see it next to it now. So I need to change the, okay, that's not bad. I need to change the default number format for that then. So I'm going to click on the field. And when you do, I get this little window at the top. So the ribbon changes. I'm going to change the number format to be a percentage. A percentage, come on. Okay, it's thinking. I think it's thinking. And we want to do it to 1 decimal. And let's see what that does there. So it's closer. I'm not quite sure how we would get more space in between. So I can't left align I can't left align the text and then have the numbers right aligned. So maybe I wonder if I can put a blank field in here. So let me try a new column. And come on. Sometime today. Okay, so I'm going to call this spaces. I'm just going to try to create some like blank spaces in here. And I wonder if there's a space function. Nope. Okay. Maybe I'll just try to put like 4 spaces in. I have no idea if this is going to work or not, but I'm trying to get, I want to try to get spaces between the job names and the, sorry, it shouldn't be job, it should be, what do we call it, industry. Come on. Okay, so I should be able to, let me see if I take this spaces field, and can I stick it in between these other two fields? Come on. I just need to put it on here somewhere so I can move it. Let me just check the box and see what happens. Okay, so it's down here now, so can I move it? There we go. So if I put it between these two, let's see what it does. Okay, well that didn't work. Oh, there we go. Does it give us the spaces? Okay, so I'm going to keep an eye on the... Okay, well that didn't do anything. Okay, well, it was worth a try. And then I'm just going to go ahead and delete this now because I don't need it. And my job, I'm going to rename once this finishes. So yes, I want to delete it. This process would be much quicker on a PC, I'm 99% sure. So I'm going to rename this field. Okay. So let's call this industry. Okay, just trying to get the names consistent across the two. Okay, so let's leave that where it is. And the next thing we want to do then, so let me duplicate this sheet. And I'm going to get rid of my average of 0. And let's reset the axis. And then I'm going to get rid of my remainder. So I'm back to just my bar chart. This time I'm going to create another calculated field. I'm just going to call it 1. It's going to be the average of 1. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a dual axis chart. And then synchronize. And on my bar chart, I want to have measure names on there. Okay, so let's edit our colors. And then this one, we want to make that light gray. And notice how this one goes up to 100%, but we want to move that to the back. So I'm going to move that mark to the back. And now we have that same view again. And I can go ahead and uncheck show header. And we have our chart. The issue now is, so if I go into this entry level and I turn on my labels, I could maybe left align them, and that puts them inside the bar. I think that's probably as close as I'm going to get. So let me make the bars a bit wider. Okay, something like that. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. And then we can hide the header again. And there we go. So that's another chart done. And let's see if we can do that. Uh-oh, I did something wrong here. Let me get rid of the industry. I think I messed something up here when I was renaming the fields. Okay, there we go. So I should be able to put industry back in the view. Okay, and then drill down. And we should get our numbers again. Okay, great. So, so let's call this one our combined axis. And let's call this one our dual axis. I think I actually prefer the dual axis over the combined axis because I don't like how these numbers are on the outside. So yeah, and I think I like how the numbers are inside the bars here. It feels like it saves me a bit of space. So let's rename this sheet as what do we want to call this one? I guess I'll call this one combined axis as well, because I can't think of a better name for it. Okay, and let's go ahead and create another new column in here. So we'll just create a new column. And I want to try to do the same thing I did in Tableau with the dual axis chart. So let's see how far we can get with this one. Okay, so I'm just going to call 1 equals 1. And then up here in my defaults, I'm going to set the default aggregation to be an average. Probably don't need to in this case, but I'm going to do it anyway just for consistency. This is getting quite annoying how slow it is. Okay, let me click on the field again. All right, let's not worry about it. Okay, so I believe I can duplicate the page. Okay, so that's kind of the same step we took in Tableau. And let's call this one dual axis. And again on the chart, okay, so I'm going to get rid of the remainder. And I think, so dual axis charts, the only kind of dual axis chart that I know how to do in Power BI is a bar and a line and a bar. So let's see what happens if I put 1 onto here. Okay, so let's try that. Okay, and now it's, because it's stacked, it's doubling them up. So let's maybe change it to a clustered bar chart, but I think this is going to put them side by side. Yeah, so ideally one overlaps the other. And I don't know of a way to combine those. Let's go on to the axis here. Title, background, border, shadow, tooltip. Okay. Is there another way I could do this? Yeah, we don't want to do that. So I don't see an easy way to create a dual axis chart where the bars overlay each other, where one is on top of the other. You can stack them, you can stack them one on top of the other, but I don't see a way to do it otherwise. Okay. And if I make it a, let me just make it a stacked. See, we still have the same issue here where it's, the values are too big. Right. So that, ideally, I'd like to be able to put one bar behind the other, but I don't see any way to do that. Okay, so I can't quite get there with this one. So the combined axis. All right. So what else could we do? I know I can show you a couple other things. What if I do? I'm not going to try anymore in Power BI. I was just curious to see if I could build those simple bar charts. You probably can. I'm just not quite sure how to do it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this field onto the the columns, and I'm going to create another calculated field for 0. 0. I'm going to make this the average of 0. And I'm going to make this a combined axis as well. But I'm going to change the mark type to a line, and I'm going to move measure names from the rows down to the path shelf. And if I sort my industry now, there's an easy way to make a dual axis bar chart. Okay. Yeah, so Megan, thank you for that. I did look for a custom visual, but I couldn't find anything. So I wasn't sure if I was missing something or not. So let's do it that way. Okay, so what I'm creating now is like rounded bars. I don't know if I have a video on how to do this as well. So if I put some space in between, maybe increase the size a bit, I can create kind of a rounded bar chart, something like that. I could put my entry level on the label and maybe only label the maybe the min-max. Let's just label the and I want to do, let's see, okay, field, industry. Okay, so that's not right. So line ends, let's do just the start of the line. And I wonder if I make this right aligned, center. There we go. So we can get the labels kind of inside the rounded bars. It doesn't look really that great. Let's see if we can make it maybe a bigger font. What size font did I use here? So I'm just going to copy the formatting here and paste the formatting here. Okay. Okay, that's okay. And let me make this a bit wider. And we get our little, so now we have our rounded bar charts. I would then hide the header and then do a bit of formatting. So I'm going to get rid of the, let's see, get rid of the axis rulers and maybe the label. Let's see, maybe I'll have it match the mark color. Yeah, that looks okay. Maybe make it bold, something like that. So that's another way to do that. Okay. Drumil, thank you for the kind words. Any tips for beginners? Yeah, Tableau has a great, it's called the Tableau Starter Kit. I would encourage you to go through that kind of from start to the end in the order that they have recommended in there. So this is our rounded bar chart. And what else could we do? I think I'm going to go back to maybe this one. I think I'm going to stick with, I think I like, what's the difference between these two? Oh yeah. Okay. So this is combined axis, this is combined plus dual axis. This one's just combined axis. All right, so which one is the best? I think probably this one is the cleanest. So I'm going to go back over to the article. Where's the article? Oh, here it is. Okay, so what is it? Why newcomers can't. Okay, I think maybe another thing we could do here is maybe I color code anything that's above 50%. I don't know if that would be useful or not. No, I don't think that's going to really add any value. I was thinking maybe of color coding these two bars, but I don't think that's going to help anything. Okay. Oh, this another thing you could do. So let me duplicate this sheet, or let me just start from scratch again. I'll show you So in this one, we did a combined axis where you had one or the other. Oops, I think I just filtered it by accident. And on this one, we did the combined axis, but we did the dual axis to bring in the label. This one's just a straight dual axis. And let me show you one more. So industry, and then I'm going to put the value here. Put that on color. And now the remainder, I'm going to, no, that's not going to work. No, that won't work. Okay, forget it. So that didn't work. So I'm going to just delete the sheet and pretend we never did that. So let's pick maybe this one, and let's think about the title and the subtitle. So first off, I'm going to go to the analysis menu. Oops, sorry. No, the worksheet menu, and turn on my captions. And this is where I like to put my my footnotes. So I'm going to maybe make this 8 point, a lighter gray, and let me center it. So data source is LinkedIn, and create, oops, created by Andy Kriebel at Viz BI. Okay, I had to think. There we go. So I'd just like to use that so I don't have to put an extra text box into the view. Okay, and let's see. The other thing I could do then is I need to change the title. So let's see what they have. Let's see if there's anything here. So maybe, so which industries demand 3+ years of experience for entry level jobs. But some industries demand, there we go. So let's maybe make that 18 point. Okay. All right, so something like that, that's probably good. So let me just go ahead and save before I forget. And let's go to, okay. Okay, so there is a request to do a waffle chart. Okay, we could try that one. I've got a couple more minutes I can spare. So anyway, that would be kind of the end of my visualization. Let me finish building this out, and then I'll get to the waffle chart. So I don't need to bring any containers in or anything. So I'm going to just let's see. I'm going to just drag this in. And let's set it to 0, 0, oops, 0, 1. Okay, and I'm going to set my inner padding to about 20. And I'm going to make this fit entire view. Okay, and then I need to show the caption so I can see my footer. All right, so from here, I'm going to maybe just start playing around with the size. So maybe if I make it like 800 by maybe 800 by 700 looks pretty good. And then my title just needs to be a smaller font. So 15. Okay, and then format font. So I'm going to change the worksheet to be maybe 11 point. Okay, that looks a bit better. Some industries demand 3+ years of experience for an entry-level job. All right, so let me change this back to 18. It's going to wrap it, but that's okay. Let me just try this, apply. Oh, the spacing is terrible in that. Okay, I'll fix that before I publish it. I don't like how there's so much space between the lines there. That's really strange. So let me change the format. I think I'm going to need to just change the workbook font. So let me try something else. Okay, that's fine. That's and Temple Public doesn't support this font, but I don't really care. I like the way it looks, so I'm going to leave it like that. So does it look better? There we go. So maybe 900 by 700 looks okay. I can now drag this over a bit so it fits closer. And that's that. So I need to clean up my tooltips. This is the last thing I need to do. At least I think it's the last thing I need to do. So my tooltip, I'm going to put that field on tooltip. So now I should see that everywhere. Okay. I'm going to remove this one from the tooltip. I'm going to remove my column header from the tooltip. And then I think what I'll do is I've got the industry, and then I'm going to say, yeah, that's good enough. I'll just leave it like that. Tableau's pretty good about generating the tooltips for you automatically. What does it look like in Power BI? Come on. Okay, I don't know why I can't see the tooltips. There we go. Yeah, so it's pretty similar in Power BI. It looks just as good. Okay, so this is my 34. So let me save. Okay, so the request was to make a where was it here? A waffle chart. So let's create a new data set, and I need to find my waffle chart template. And I need to remember how to do this because I haven't done it in quite a while. So if I mess up, I do have a video you can refer to. So open. Okay, and this is, okay, that looks good. And then I want to add into this our Excel sheet, which is going to be our LinkedIn jobs. And I want to create a calculated, oh, I want to say that's not right. I want to say percentage. No, I want to create a calculated join. I want to call this, then let's just call it the letter A. And then here it's the letter A. So I'm creating a, so so for retail, for example, let me sort this. Come on. There you go. So you see for design, I have 100 rows now for design and education. Okay, so I need to make these both discrete. Okay, so column's going to go on the columns and rows going to go on the rows. And I'll just filter down to one job for now. So let's just try, software and IT services. And I'm going to, let's see, so I want to make these squares. Oh no, not squares, so let's just leave it like that. And now my calculated field is going to be fill color. It's going to be the entry level job is less than or equal to the percentage. I think this is right. Okay, so that looks kind of correct. Okay, so I need to create, I don't remember how I did this before. I'm just going to try it this way. So I'm going to create a dummy field, set the size as big as it'll go, and let's edit the axis. I'll try to remember to link to this, to the video I have for how to create a waffle chart. Okay, there we go. And then we can hide the header. And I'm going to put a border around everything. And then let's just kind of shrink it up. something like that. I'm fairly certain I did this an easier way before, and also it's not working now, so true, false, 6. Oh no, that is right, because it's 60, but it's like, what's the number? Let's see. Let's put that on a tooltip. 60.3%. Yeah, so it's rounding it. So I think I wanted, no, that order is not going to matter. What happens if I make this continuous and I make this continuous? It's just going to give me a scatter plot. Okay, so that's not what I want. Get rid of that. Yeah, that's not what I want. Okay, so my row, I'm going to need to sort this the other way around. Let's just sort that descending. And then I could like maybe, I could annotate this mark, and I could just put the, let's see, I don't want to do that. I'm going to need to put the job onto detail, and then I could annotate the mark. And let's see, so we'll just have job on there. And okay. And then you can see we could just kind of move this around and something like that. So I could do that. I could maybe also put the percentage in there if I wanted to. Let's see. And the other way we could do this, so let me just show you. So if I make both, I'm going to put that on the columns, that on the rows, and I'm going to make them both contiguous. I kind of like these circular ones. So let's put, let's stick the job here. Let's try design, and we'll put the fill color on color. Make these filled circles. Make them nice and big, and now we get, you know, kind of a better looking. I kind of like the way that these look. So if I squish this over a bit, and then come on, where the heck's the bottom? Okay, let's squish this up. So something like that. So that's how you would make kind of like a waffle chart with circles. Okay. Can you make a video on how to make a periodic table? I don't know if you mean the periodic table of elements. If so, just Google it. Somebody's probably done it already. And then forest, entire view, but that make it look more similar to the original. Okay, why don't I do this? So let's look at the size of this. So let's inspect this. And what I want to do is, does it give me a height? And let's see, so, okay, so it's 596 high by 460 wide. Okay. 596 by 460. Okay, so I think that's what you mean. So 596 by 460, so it's about 600 by, that actually looks more, one second. Let me just do it this way. So let's see, so if I do, I'm just going to roughly get the dimensions here. So it's 640 by 750. So 650 by 750. So 650, oops, by 750, something like that. Is a bit closer to what they have in the original. I'm not sure if that's what you mean, Forest, but yeah, I think that looks better. Okay, so that's all I have time for today. I'm sorry the Power BI demo didn't work out as well as I thought it might. It's just the speed of running it on Parallels, but also running the live stream at the same time seems to use up a lot of resources. But yeah, I hope you found that helpful. I'm going to maybe make this a bit wider. And if you have any questions, please leave a comment. Otherwise, have a great day. See you next week. Bye.